distinguished dignitaries and dear students, very good afternoon to all. At the outset, I thank Dr. Surendra Munjal, Professor, Center for International Business, Leeds University Business School, and Professor Sangeeta Khurana, University of Bournemouth, for giving me an opportunity to interact with the brilliant students of Leeds University Business School. Dear students, trade and investments are important ingredients of the economic growth and development. The Commonwealth economies are always among the major drivers of the world economy and contribute significantly in the world economic and development indicators. I believe of the 2.4 billion population, around 1.4 billion is below the age of 29. And the whole world is now facing very dynamic economic environment where the trade developments, investments are at top of the agenda. And few economies recently were in the trade wars, like USA and China. They faced the dialogue between the increase in tariffs. So at this juncture, the developments in the trade and investments becomes very, very important to discuss, and I congratulate the University of Leeds for deciding this topic, that trade and investments are the major ingredients of the economy. So I am firm believer of that trade and investments go hand in hand for the growth and development of any economy. And in our country, in India, we too focus on trade and investments, and we are always at the forefront of any development in the international arena, and we are trying our best efforts to attract more and more investments and opening up the trade scenario for the global economy. The fact is that our trade to GDP is increasing year after year, and we can say that we are one of the most integrated global economy, because our global presence, our global integratedness is more than 100% of our GDP. Considering the current receipts and payments and capital receipts and capital payments, this becomes more than 100% of our GDP. So that is the reflection of our economy, that we are opened and we are opening up further our economy to the global markets. And economic environment in India is changing each day. Yesterday we were a closed economy. Today we are opened immensely to the entire world. We are well connected with and globally integrated economy with plethora of dynamic reforms recently undertaken by the Modi government, which has put us in the fastest growing trajectory and has created millions of possibilities for tomorrow to connect more and perform better. And we look forward to the new India of dreams, such as employment for all, education for all, quality education for all, and state-of-the-art health facilities, improved standards of living. That will be a dream India, great India, and we anticipate that we will achieve our dreams in the coming times, and we are doing a lot, and our progress is recognized with the developments in the global economy. Dear students, India is a long-term growth story. We were slow in the 1950s and 1960s, and then we were steady in 1970s and 1980s, and even in 1990s we were steady. And the pace of growth took fast mode after the advent of 1991 reforms. And in 2010s, now we are in the fastest moving growth trajectory. Here I would say that it took around 40 years to double real income in India, but after the advent of 1991 reforms, now the real income doubles every 17 years. And going forward, our projection is that real income will start doubling in next few years, because our anticipation for the economy is very high. We are going to become a $5 trillion economy in the next 5 years, almost double from the current size. Currently, we are $2.9 trillion, and in the next 5 years, the anticipation is that we will be a $5 trillion economy in the by 25. And the states are the most prominent ingredient of growth and development in India. And our government is focusing a lot for the development of states. In the recent years also, the importance of states has become very prominent and immense, as these have been recognized as the futuristic growth engine of the Indian economy. Accordingly, many of the states have focused on shift of their economic structure from the political performance to the economic performance, because earlier the political developments were the most recognized developments, but now in the recent years the economic performance has become very, very prominent for the performance of the states. And it has been observed that during the last few years, out of the 29 states, 20 are growing consistently more than 7%. That is the strength of states of India, that these states are contributing a lot in India's growth story. And overall, India is growing very progressively. Various economic indicators, growth parameters such as manufacturing, services, trade, investments are growing exponentially and performing better year after year. Inflation is in the benign conditions since the last many years. The indicators such as growth of MSMEs and FDIs have performed very well during the last 5 years trajectory. And our government and the central bank are taking calibrated steps to push the growth trajectory further to the next level. And anticipation is that we will achieve a double-digit growth rate during the next very few years. Not only at the domestic front, but also at the global front, our performance is recognized with the so many prestigious organizations. Our growth performance has become remarkable, and the country has become a bright spot in the global ecosystem. One of the most important ingredients, the ease of doing business provided by the World Bank, has performed significantly well during the last 5 years, which improved from 142 in 2014 to 77 in 2019. And we have vision that we will be less than 50 in the index of ease of doing business in the next few years. During the last 5 years, we have improved in almost all the major economic indicators. Ease of doing business from 142 to 77, and global retail development index, we improved from 20th position to first. Then the global competitiveness index, we improved from 71 in 2014 to 58 in 2018. Then logistics performance index, we improved from 54 in 2014 to 44 in 2018. And the global innovation index, we improved from 76 to 52, and global gender gap index, we improved from 114 to 108, and other so many parameters like socio-economic parameters, we are improving a lot, and going forward, our projection is that we have immense potential to improve further and to show our great performance at the global charts. And not only at the global front, we are improving in the global economic indicators and global competitiveness indicators, but at the domestic front also, our states are improving a lot. Recently, the government of India took a very important decision to rank the Indian states. Accordingly, their growth parameters in the implementation of BRAP, which is an index of business reforms action plan, is compared. Their competitiveness is compared on the basis of BRAP. And dear students, I am happy to announce that the dynamic states such as Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Haryana, Jharkhand, Gujarat are performing very well and exceptionally well in the implementation of these BRAP reforms decided by the Government of India for the implementation at the state level. And during the last 5 years, the plethora of reforms, starting from Make in India in 2014, then Skill India, Digital India, Jan Dhan Yojana, Startup India, and then a major breakthrough in the taxation system, goods and services tax. Then for the facilitation of micro units and small businesses, Mudra Yojana, and reforms for the MSME sector, like because MSME sector is the backbone of the Indian economy, so that's why the government has focused significantly on the growth of MSMEs for the facilitation and a great handholding to increase the performance of this sector in the Indian economy. Then for the health facilities, there is a scheme, Ayushman Bharat, and to improve the health of the banking sector, there is recapitalization of the banking sector to perform better and to facilitate the businesses better. And as I mentioned that MSME sector is a major growth ingredient of the Indian economy, and the government is doing a lot for the MSME sector. Government introduced revolutionary program to step up the growth rate of manufacturing sector and to increase the contribution of MSMEs in GDP, and to increase the manufacturing sector share from 17% to 25% by 2025. And accordingly, there are a lot of reforms for the manufacturing and MSMEs. And MSME sector contributes at around 31% in India's GDP right now, which is contributed by 23% from the services sector MSMEs and 8% from the manufacturing sector MSMEs. And there are around 63 million MSMEs in India. So, majorly the growth rate of MSMEs has its great importance in the overall development of the Indian economy. And startups are also growing very well during the last few years. To give a big push to our young dynamic minds, the Government of India introduced the startup program to ignite the young minds like you. And there are a lot of reforms for the startups. Going by the numbers, I believe there are more than 20,000 startups in the country, and a lot of dynamic reforms to facilitate these startups and to perform better are in implementation at the ground level, and recently there is again a ranking of the Indian states according to the support and conducive environment provided by them to the startups. And states like Gujarat, Karnataka, Kerala, Odisha, Rajasthan, Andhra Pradesh, then Bihar, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Telangana, all these states are performing very well, and projections are that there is a strong need to boost further the policies of the startups. Then India's vision with mission is that India is improving in the global financial standards. Then dynamic judicial system is also on the cards, that judiciary must be very, very strong to move forward. And then we are working on the protection of IPRs. So the major 3 Ds of the Indian economy are demand, then democracy, and demography. And trade. Trade is growing exponentially, and during the last 4 or 5 years, like starting from 2013-14 to 2018-19, our trade grew from 1,015 billion to I believe 1,175 billion in 18-19. So there is a growth in trade despite the global headwinds and slowdown in many of the economies, and various reforms at the domestic front. Our scenario of trade is increasing, and we are performing better. And I believe the 9-10% growth achieved in the exports during the last 2-3 years is significant as compared with many of the advanced and developing economies. And the projection is that going forward we will improve further. And I'm happy to announce, dear students, that out of our top 20 trading partners, around 5 are from the Commonwealth economies like Singapore, Australia, and then Malaysia, and United Kingdom, and Nigeria. These are among the top 20 trading partners, and going forward, our anticipation is that the share of the Commonwealth economies will increase further. And at the investment front, we are doing very significantly. We were only $36 billion in 2013-14, and now the FDI flows are $64 billion. I'm happy to announce that our foreign direct investments are almost near the double during the last 5 years, which is a great news for India and for the whole world, as we announced our Make in India program in 2014, that you come and invest in India. So our flows of FDI are increasing, and not only Make in India, but also the implementation of GST, then the facilitating infrastructure. There are a lot of improvement in the infrastructure front, and economies of scale are also improving. And there is a change in the mindset of the people that we have to progress and we have to move fast. So anticipation is that we will be $100 billion investment destination in the next 2-3 years, because we are already at around 64 during the last year. So for the current year, projection is that we will cross $70 billion, and going forward, $100 billion is not far away from us in the next 2-3 years. That is achievable, and I'm confident that the economic reforms will continue, and we will be able to attract more and more investments from the global markets. And in the FDI also, like in the investments, like in trade, major of our trade partners, like 5 are from the uh, Commonwealth economies. And in the investment front also, countries like Mauritius, Singapore, UK, Cyprus are the Commonwealth economies which are investing in India. And Mauritius is among the top 10. In fact, Mauritius is the largest investing country in India. Around the share is around 32% in the total investments, and that is followed by Singapore, then Japan 7%, Singapore 20%, and Netherlands 7%. These are the major economies investing in India. And structure of FDI is that majorly FDI is coming in the services sector. Around 18% is in the services sector, and then computer hardware and software. 9% of the total investment flows are in the computer software and hardware. Then telecommunication is also a very lucrative sector in India's economy, and around 8% FDI is coming in this sector. And construction sector is attracting 6%, because construction sector is very, very important for the Indian economy, as the sector has potential to attract investments and to create employment opportunities for the millions of skilled, semi-skilled and unskilled population. Then within India, like FDIs are majorly attracted by the Mumbai region, followed by Delhi. Mumbai attracts at around 30% of the total flows, then Delhi at around 20%, and Bangalore, I believe, 9%, and Chennai 7%. And lot of investment opportunities are existing. Majorly, government has opened up almost all the sectors for the FDI, and there are some few government approvals, like mining and mineral is the sector where some government approval is required for the 100% FDI. Then publishing and some other areas require some government approval. Otherwise, many of the sectors are open for the FDI. And few sectors like multi-brand retail trading, which is open for 51%, FDI. Banking sector is 20%. And recently, government announced major policy reforms that 100% foreign direct investment will be permitted in the insurance intermediaries. That is a major breakthrough in the last budget. And going forward, anticipation is that more and more FDI is on cards from the global markets, and PSD chamber facilitates trade and investment scenarios, and we have a dedicated investment desk which is called TIFS, Trade and Investment Facilitation Services, which facilitates the foreign investors to invest in India in various states, and provides hand-holding to meet the government officials and to set up the production facilities in India. And we provide a single window information system to all the global investors. So friends, I believe India at this juncture is an opportunity with promising growth, consumption, trade and investments. And I believe, and my appeal is to the global investors, is that come and make in India, invest in India, export from India, and earn from India. India is transforming and will enter next level of growth trajectory in the next very few years. That is the double-digit growth trajectory. And I would say that मेरा भारत बदल रहा है, आप आइए, इन्वेस्ट करिए, come and invest in India. And I believe at this juncture, India is a land of opportunities, and because now the global growth is finding, global money is finding the growth partners, and India is one of the most attractive growth partner for the global investors.